First of all, I would like to thank our Honorable Finance Minister. She was kind enough to waive off GST on tamarind, and because of this waiver of GST on tamarind, a lot of poor people, lakhs of tamarind workers in my constituency and in my state have benefited. And I am sure, ma'am, you'll have all their best wishes during this turbulent period you are handling this portfolio. Thank you very much. And coming into this demand for grants, I would like to put forth my state's perspective more than the national perspective. The central government has brought in an ordinance where corporates have been given incentives in income tax to the tune of 1,45,000 crores. This is a welcome move because it will provide a stimulus to this economy, especially during this downturn. And I think this is mitigated to an extent by the transfer of 1,76,000 crores from the RBI as a surplus. But the fact is that all this is going to go into the non-tax revenues, and this will not be a part of the devolution of taxes to the state. And our state is already crippling with finances. We are having huge stress on finances. So this will actually impact us to the extent of 2,000 crores. Before this ordinance was given, our share of taxes was close to 34,833 crores. And with this ordinance, it's going to be 32,778 crores. So I request the government to take a positive view because we are already stuck with bad finances. We are having huge revenue deficit. So I request the minister to take a positive view on this as a special case for our newly formed state. And the bifurcation has resulted in adverse implications for the finances of our state. We inherited 56% of the population, 60% of debt, and we also inherited only 46% of revenues. There's a huge mismatch and there's a huge deficit in revenues for the state, and it would not be inappropriate to say that the bifurcation of the state took place with the two promises. One is special category status on this floor of the house, and the second one is that they will fulfill all the conditions in the AP Reorganization Act. But the fact is that special category status has not been addressed so far. It was promised on the floor of this house. It was promised in the manifesto of both the BJP and the Congress. It was promised not only in the house, it was promised in various meetings by the Honorable Prime Minister himself and all the other ministers who have canvassed in our state. So I think it's the need of the hour to support our state. We are in huge deficit financially, and I think it's time for the government to keep up the promises made. And even the AP Reorganization Act, a lot of promises have been kept unfulfilled, and I think the government should act in time to keep up what all have been promised in the AP Reorganization Act. And to just give the magnitude of the financial losses what we are incurring, the government in 2000, after the partition, we inherited almost 97,123 crores, and in the past 5 years, the debt has risen to 2,58,000 crores. This is huge, and now the current government, the new government, we are facing a huge burden with this. Just the interest part is 20,000 crores, and the principal we need to pay 20,000 crores per year. It's like 40,000 crores every year. As of now, the government is purely surviving on debt. We have unviable finances. We are having huge revenue deficit, and I plead with the Honorable Finance Minister to take a positive view, and I also urge the government to help our state very positively. And the only way forward for us is granting special category status. Ysrcp Congress Party demands special category status, and we request the government to keep up the word what they have given us. It is not a demand or whatever we are asking in AP Reorganization Act. It is not something new which we are asking. All this were promised, and we are requesting what has been promised to us. Ma'am, I would like to talk about a Polavaram project. It is a very important project. Andhra Pradesh is basically an agrarian state. More than 60% of the population thrive on agriculture. But in the past few years, the farmers have been hit with continuous drought and cyclones. The debt of the farmers was 87,000 crores in 2014, and currently it is at almost 1,30,000 crores. So you can understand the plight of the farmers. AP has the highest indebted farmers in the country, so it is time for the government to help us construct Polavaram project, which is part of the AP Reorganization Act. It is a national project which has to be constructed by the center. So the center needs to support with funds. There is almost 5,000 crores pending for the already work done in the Polavaram project. We are already living on borrowed finances, and the interest part on this 5,000 crores itself is almost close to 500 crores for our state, which is a huge burden for us. So I plead with the government to release this amount immediately, and also the project is in full progress. Very soon it is going to reach the 41.5 meter level for the spillway and the coffer dam, which means that there will be submergence and huge amount needs to go into land acquisition and also for rehabilitation. So it is time now this amount be released for the state, and expert committee was constituted for this projects and all, and our new Chief Minister Mithun Reddy is in the process of cutting costs, saving money for the state. On the advice of expert committee, reverse tendering took place, and we have a huge saving of almost 800 crores. I think this is a direct saving to the central government. So please keep all this in mind. Please understand our positive attitude. Help build Polavaram fast, because we don't have such conditions for national highway projects happening in our state. National highway projects don't have everything is on fast track. The bills are paid whenever the work is done in a few days' time. But here we have months delay. It's going to drain the exchequer with additional interest costs. And I would also like to bring to the notice of the Honorable Finance Minister that as part of the AP Reorganization Act, we were promised a package like Bundelkhand, where backward districts get benefit. In our state, 7 districts have been identified, and every year 350 crores had to be released in this regard. But for the past 2 years, this amount has been pending, and even with the current year, a total of 1,050 crores is pending for the state. I urge the government to release this amount soon, and I also urge the Finance Minister to relook into this backward area grant, the whole workings, because if you see the actual Bundelkhand package, it was taken on the number of districts, but in Andhra Pradesh we have lesser districts with huge population and huge area, so there is a mismatch in this. So we urge the government to take a view, to rework on this and take it on per capita basis, because I will give an example what's happened in Bundelkhand and what's happening in AP. If you take the per capita grants which Bundelkhand is getting, it is almost 4,115 rupees per person. But the same thing in AP is 428, just 428 rupees per person, which is a big mismatch, and it is nowhere close to the Bundelkhand package. We are getting only 10% of what we were supposed to get. So please consider this and please rework on this. And I would also like to bring to the notice of the Honorable Finance Minister that during the bifurcation of the state, the first year, that is 2014-2015, it was promised that the revenue deficit will be bridged and the revenue deficit will be paid to the state. But so far, of the total revenue deficit of 22,948 crores, only 3,979 has been released. There was a sort of a dispute between the central and state government regarding this figure, but the CAG has ratified this, that it is 22,948, so there is no dispute on this right now. So I request the Honorable Finance Minister to take a view on this and release the revenue deficit, whatever we have been expecting. And as I've already told, ours is basically an agrarian state. So if you take, we are majorly dependent on River Krishna, and though Godavari passes through our state, not much of water we are able to use from that. So as part of the interlinking of rivers, I urge the central government to take up interlinking of River Krishna and Godavari as a national project, because if you see, in River Krishna, because of climate change or whatever reasons, because of new projects being built, the water inflow into Andhra Pradesh, especially Srisalem Dam, has fallen from 1,230 TMC to 456 TMC. This is the average figures I am giving. So it is almost one-third of what water we need to get. So the only way to improve the demographic dividend of the state is to interlink these two rivers. Kindly support us, because we are an agrarian state, and everybody, I think this will be the largest employment generator for the state.